Gammon time. By Jove, we've got it. A Jacob Rees-Mogg. Oh! A Jacob Rees-Mogg. Yes, where he decided to turn on to KGBBs. Labour is wallowing in indecision, failure, and general hopelessness, says Jacob Rees-Mogg. Yes, the haunted pencil himself. Oh, you just don't understand. In the good old days, when we had leaders with backbone, this is what we used to hear. To those waiting with bating breath for that favourite media catchphrase, the U-turn. I have only one thing to say. U-turn if you want to. The lady is not for turning. This, unfortunately, is not the view of the current government, which seems to think its job is to prepare for the next headline. When we had leaders with backbone, says the man who was in the government with a man who's always in the headlines. By seeing quite how many U-turns it can execute in a London taxi in the shortest possible time. You see, plebs, that was a establishment joke. Oh, you must understand, plebs, that is a joke. Let's look at the current Chancellor of the Exchequer today, sticking boldly, of course, to her course. The delay. Plans to increase the minimum wage for 18 to 20-year-olds, supposedly to allow employers a better chance to hire more people. We already have incentives to hire young people. The apprenticeship rate of the minimum wage and no national insurance contributions for the youngest workers. But we do recognise there are challenges. You're not wrong. Because of the number of U-turns is going up and up, you could probably sing them to the 12 Days of Christmas if you had a musical turn of mind. But let's go through them. Digital ID cards. No, I never really understand what I want something I was really that fussed about, because I just think, well, you give away your ID on your phone every day. Business rate for pubs. Well, pubs have been dying for years anyway, haven't they? Inheritance tax on farmers. Especially, won't you think about the poor millionaire farmers? The 2-child benefit cap, that must be scrapped for the plebs. Income tax thresholds. Workers' Day 1 rights. Waspy women's compensation, where they lied. Yeah, but how long were you guys in power? You lot didn't really do a right lot for the waspy women anyway. Welfare and disability benefit cuts, grooming gangs, a national inquiry which they said was a far-right thing, winter fuel payments, trans right definitions, national insurance, measurements of national debt, delayed elections across 30 local authorities, which they now have the gall to blame on the local authorities themselves. And now a refusal to roll out the minimum wage boost. A U-turn. This is absolutely extraordinary. Not least when a leading member of the cabinet, someone waiting in the wings to catch the ball should it come out of the scrum, said this: Mr. Streeting, treating the NHS. We have an initiative called Graft. Get it right first time. That should be the government's New Year's resolution for 2026. Let's try to get it right first time. Wouldn't it be miraculous if they could? Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could actually have a little bit of proper government? He's got room to talk, hasn't he? Yes, this is the man who went to the Queen and lied through his teeth. I don't think he has the moral fibre to criticise anybody, has he really? Because of this real problem. The current government don't know what it wanted to do when it came in, hasn't worked out what it wants to do now, and therefore staggers day to day, crisis to crisis, to the detriment of the country, and then shies away from the blame. And this is constitutionally important. Nearly got it right. Get the teeth in, Daz. and this is constitutionally important. Yes. You really couldn't make this shit up, could you? The man who lies through his teeth. This man who said, vote for Brexit and you'll get cheap shoes for peasants. There are two principles of cabinet government on which our constitution rests, on which we are governed. One is collective responsibility, the other is ministerial responsibility. Yeah. The irony, the meter must have just broken here. Tories took no responsibility for anything, did collectively responsibility has already gone for Burton. I don't know what Burton football team's got to do with collective responsibility, but I think they will I like to argue against that Jacob Rees-Mogg. Just today, we had an Education Secretary, Bridget Phillipson, criticising the Health Secretary, Wes Streeton, claiming it wasn't up to him that the two-child cap had changed. They are squabbling with each other. There is no united cabinet view. That makes holding them to account more difficult because they simply isn't. Because they simply say, it wasn't me. It was my colleague over there. Blame him. Yeah, spoken like a true Tory. When in opposition, it's all their fault. When we're in power, it's civil servants' fault. That undermines democratic accountability. So does the loss of ministerial responsibility. And then there's the Prime Minister himself, Sir Keir Starmer. In case he hasn't noticed, and sometimes I think he hasn't, he must think he's just the cat who wandered into Downing Street. So, Larry, I think you might be in trouble here. They're looking to replace you. Confusing himself with whatever the cat is called. No, Sir Keir isn't called Sir Larry. I'm sorry. Because whenever something goes wrong, it's not his fault. But the art of all good leadership is simple. The credit goes to subordinates. The blame rests with the boss. All good bosses know this. Yes, says the man who defended the lying toe rag that is Boris Johnson to the hilt. Yet he blamed a speechwriter for saying the country was an island of strangers. He blames councils for cancelling local elections, which must be his fault. The government's fault, because councils have no power to cancel elections unless the government gives it to them. Again and again, they make U-turns. Again and again, they blame others, and no government is taking place. This matters. Because what the country needs is economic growth. To get that, we need clear policy. We need to know where we are going. We need a government that is responsive to and accountable to the electorate. No, not one that wallows in indecision, failure, and general hopelessness. Oh, you just don't understand. You utter fucking melt.
Thank you, the Frolicker, in chief, the one, the only, a true legend, that is, Mr. Daily Blasé, for coming in and taking over the Larry News Studio and bringing us your very sharp and insightful version of events. Thank you, Darren, Mr. Daily Blasé, for brightening up our Friday nights. Well, folks, if you enjoyed this video, then not only are you lovely people, but you also have great taste, and you should also subscribe to the Two Davies for news and politics from a very Scottish perspective, and that rantastic Mr. McGuinness. You should also subscribe to Mr. Daily Blasé's channel for merriment, mischief, and the Friday frolics. Cue growling cat.